Welcome to the Leafy Podcast, helping real estate investors and entrepreneurs grow. Say hello to your hosts, Jennifer Glorick and Brian Price, founders of Leafy Legal Services, teaching you how to protect your assets, grow your business, and manage your wealth. Let's start the show.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Leafy Podcast. Thank you so much for listening today. I have our wonderful host with us today, Jennifer Glorick. She is the COO and co-founder of Leafy Legal Services. And I am so excited about our guest today, and I know Jennifer is too. We just cannot wait to introduce him to you. So I'm going to pass it on to Jennifer so she can get us started. Hey, Jennifer.
Hey, Leafy podcasters. I am having a great fangirl moment right now. So it's like it's doing all my effort to does not just scream like I'm like looking at the Beatles, like those old black and white things. But anyway, today we have on the #1 real estate podcast host of Lifetime Cash Flow Through Real Estate Investing. He's also the author of How to Create Lifetime Cash Flow Through Multifamily Properties, The New Rules of Real Estate Investing. He's a philanthropist. He is a real estate investor. He is an expert on multifamily. He came here with nothing and managed to create an entire empire. And then he ends up losing it all, going $50 million into debt from nothing. And now he's built it up. And we just found out that he's about to buy like 500 doors next week. So let us welcome to the show. I just can't stand it. Khleif. Rod, welcome to Leafy Podcast.
Oh my goodness, what an awesome introduction. And thank you. I love your energy, Jennifer. What is Leafy? What is that somebody's name or is it?
No. Okay. So I was drinking wine with my friends and we all had this terrible experience. We built businesses for like 25 years and we're real estate investors, and we were building businesses about 10 years ago, all virtual. We were using US-based virtual workers to create digital. It was mostly in the digital marketing space. Also, too, we did live events with people like Dan Merrill and Kevin Harrington and people like that. Nice. And we had gotten burnt by a client, burnt bad, man. And so we thought we're going to create something where we can do our own company with all these people that we love, because in a virtual work environment, you actually become much closer to people, even though you don't see them, than you do in an office, if you're doing it right. And so we thought about a phoenix. We're going to come through from the ashes. And I said, yeah, but then he burns up again and he has to start all over. That's not motivating for me. And I said, what if we had a phoenix who had like leaves, and every time the forest would just get stronger and stronger? And that's where the name came from.
Were there any hallucinogenics involved in this thought process, or was
it was this really great Paso Robles Cabernet Sauvignon.
I love it. Well, listen, thanks for having me on. Let's have some fun, and I'm going to do everything I can to add as much value as I possibly can to your amazing listeners. So.
Okay. Well, we were talking a little bit before the show, because I could not get my excitement down about, all the things. Rod could talk about his charity, which I want to hear about before we end the show, because it's so inspiring. It's the Tiny Hands Foundation, and it's benefited more than 65,000 community children in need. And 80,000. Okay, it's went up to 80,000. Oh my gosh, that's so incredible. And just the journey, right? How do you get from coming to having nothing to building it all up, losing it, and getting it all again? There is more to it than just, we'll follow these steps or go to this school or do this, right? And he said, well, it's mindset. And I know we talk about this a lot, but I want to hear it from your perspective.
Do you talk about mindset a lot on your show?
We do.
Oh, fantastic.
It makes
it's 80 to 90%. It's 80 to 90% of this, guys. So the analytical ones always have a problem with this. They're like, oh, come on, get on with the real estate stuff. Tell me about the real estate. But 80 to 90% of your success in anything is mindset, because you got to push through fear. You got to push through limiting beliefs. You actually have to take action with what you hear. If it was just the knowledge, there'd be a bunch of wealthy librarians and college professors out there. So, if you'll humor me, let me just say a little bit of my story if someone hasn't heard my story, because I think it'll tie into what we're going to talk about. So I immigrated to this country when I was 6 years old with my brother Albert, my mother's Vansha. I was born in Holland, in the Netherlands, and we ended up in Denver, Colorado, where I lived for 30 years. And we didn't have much, okay? You know, I wore clothes from the Goodwill and the Salvation Army all the way through junior high school till I lied about my age and got a job at Burger King when I was 14 and I could buy clothes. But, you know, we ate expired food, drank powdered milk. And I'm sure there are people listening to you that have had it harder than we do, or maybe now with this COVID crap, have it hard right now. But I will tell you, stay tuned if that's you, because I'm gonna add value to you, I promise. But I will tell you that I knew back then that I wanted more. My mom was an entrepreneur, and she had an incredible work ethic. So she babysat kids so that we'd have enough money to eat. And with her babysitting money, she bought, she invested in the stock market. I remember she made money actually. And then she bought the house across the street from us when I was 14 for about $30,000. When I was 17, she told me it had gone up $20,000 in her sleep. And I'm like, what? You made $20,000? You didn't do anything? Screw college, I'm getting into real estate. So I got into real estate, and fast forward to today, I've owned over 2,000 houses, multiple apartment buildings. And in 2006, my net worth went up $17 million while I slept.
Wow.
You want to do the math on that? It's $8,300 and change an hour over a 40-hour work week. Of course I did. And I got a head so big, I could barely fit it through a door. I thought I was a real estate god. And when that happens, God or the universe or whatever you believe will very often give you a smackdown. Well, that was 2008 for me. I lost that 17 million and a lot more. I lost $50 million in 2008. And so what I enjoy talking about is the mindset it took to have 50 million to lose in the first place, and then the mindset it took to get back to the success that I'm blessed to enjoy today. And so, if you'll humor me, let me chat about that for a minute.
Oh my God, I'm not saying a word. I just want to
Okay,
hear popcorn and eat.
All right. So what I want to take you through very, very quickly is a process that I teach at my live events. When I had live events, I was on track to have 700 or 800 people in Orlando in May, and of course we all know what happened with that. And
Tammy's in Orlando.
Could you try again?
My phone is talking to me. What? Oh. Shut up. I have this Australian Siri, and we fight all the time. I don't know what happened. Anyway, so you live in Orlando? Is that where you're at?
Yes. Yeah, that's where I am right now.
Oh, that's awesome. I just spoke to the Greater Orlando multifamily meetup last night.
You did not.
I did.
Oh, man, I'm sorry I missed that.
Well, anyway, so I was on track to have 700 or 800 people, and we know what happened. So I had to pivot. And maybe you're listening and you're going through some stuff right now, and you might need to pivot or innovate. So, I created a website. It's multifamilyvirtualbootcamp.com. And if you go on there, you'll see me on my phone recording the video. I haven't even changed it yet. But in like 3 days, we got this website up because, that's our biggest source of revenue for my thought leadership business. And so, I was like, what are we going to do? Well, we're going to pivot. We're going to do what we have to do. We're going to focus on the outcome. And so, we had 900 people pay to attend. It was the largest event we've ever done. We're doing another one July 25th and 26th. And, I don't sell anything, by the way. Let me do a quick plug. I don't sell anything at these events. And it's $97 for 2 full days of training. It's like a no-brainer. So if you want to come, actually, when will this episode air?
Tammy will know when it airs.
In 2 weeks.
Okay, then July 25th and 26th, it'll air before then. If I'll tell you what, use the code RODFRIEND and you'll get $50 off. RODFRIEND is one word, and it's multifamilyvirtualbootcamp.com. And again, I don't sell anything there. It's 2 full days of training. In fact, let me show you something. Here's the manual for this thing. It's like I don't know if you can see how thick it is. It's 200 pages. I give you all these incredible books and resources there.
Oh wow! So for y'all can't see, you get like 3 spiral binders that look pretty.
No, like
and
8 or 9.
Oh, look at that, 9.
3. Yeah. There's like 6 inches of documentation.
It's a lot, guys.
It's forming a partnership. So anyway, there's all kinds of stuff here, but it's $97. Multifamilyvirtualbootcamp.com. There's my plug. And if you've got any interest in this business, for God's sakes, come spend a couple days with me. You'll be glad you did. I'm not selling anything. But the point is that when I lost everything, I thought I was set for life. And, you know, I thought 80 million baby boomers getting old and getting cold. I thought Florida was recession proof. Well, you know, that was wrong. And so what I do at this event, I do this. And if you don't, not going to join me, I actually did this on my Facebook, my Rod Khleif official Facebook page as well, is I do this goal setting process on steroids. And I'll describe it in about 5 minutes. I want to describe it if you can't join me because it's so powerful. So what you do is and this is how I was able to recover, by focusing on what I wanted and exactly why I wanted it. So what you need to do is you need to sit down and write down, well, you pick an hour when you're going to be uninterrupted. You make sure you're well hydrated as I drink some water. And you don't do it right after a meal. You want to have a lot of energy. And you sit down and write down everything you could ever possibly want in life. All the stuff, the houses, the cars, the boats, the jet skis, the planes, all the stuff. You write it down. And don't limit yourself. Imagine that if you write it down, you're going to get it, which is not outside the realm of reality. Because what it does, and if you're listening to these lovely ladies, I know that you probably already do your goals, but this process is a little deeper than that, just FYI. So hang with me here. Don't just tune out right now. This is really important. And so what it does when you write your goals down, it triggers something in your brain called your reticular activating system. And that's that filter in your brain that subconsciously it kind of points you in the direction it thinks is important to you. And it's all subconscious. And the greatest example of this is when you first buy a car. You never really notice them. And then when you buy the car, you've been focused on it and you see them everywhere. Were they there before? You bet. And it's the same way with your goals, okay? So you write down your goals, write down everything you can think of, and don't limit yourself. Imagine if you write it down, you're going to get it. So if you want the private island, the jet, the yacht, whatever it is, write it down. And once you can't think of another, write down how much money you want in the bank in, say, 3 years, and then how much money you want in 10 years, how much cash flow you want from your assets, say, in 3 years or 10 years. Write down all of that stuff. Write down, also write down the things you want to do in your lifetime. Maybe you want to climb all the mountains over 14,000 feet, or you want to write a book, or you want to learn a skill. If it's multifamily, for God's sakes, come see me. But if maybe it's something else, you want to do a side hustle, start a business, become an entrepreneur, whatever it is. Write that down. I jumped out of a perfectly good airplane 8 months ago. That was on my list. I'll never freaking do it again, but it's done. It's off the list. So write down what you want to do. Then also, sorry, they're working on my AC. They're coming in and out. I'm about to smack somebody because they knew to be quiet. Anyway, so write down what you want. Write down also the things that you want to learn in your lifetime. Maybe you want to learn a foreign language. Again, learn a skill set. So it's not just the stuff, it's everything you want to do, be, or have. Also write down who you want to help. I bought my parents a house here in Florida, bought them a car, took them on cruises. Who do you want to do something for? Because we'll do more for others than we'll ever do for ourselves. And then once you can't think of another thing, now you've got a bunch of dreams there. They become real when they become measurable. Put a time limit on each goal. Put how many years you think it's going to take you to achieve it. And don't overthink this, okay? Just put a 1, a 3, a 5, even a 10 or a 20. Because human beings will overestimate what they can do in a year and massively underestimate what they can do in 10 or 20 years. And so put a time limit on each goal. And I'll give you an example of this. When I was 18, I lived in Denver, and I knew I always wanted to live on the beach. And there's no beach in Denver. But I would visualize the palm trees and the surf and the sand, of course, the bikinis. I'm a guy. And I'd visualize all this. And what's crazy is 20 years later, I built this incredible mansion on the beach. 10,000 square foot, $8 million house. And, which was unthinkable when I was 18. Okay, this is not me bragging. This is me hoping to inspire you listening to the power of this. Okay, because I decided that I was going to have that. 20 years later, I got it. Incredible house. And so don't limit yourself. So you've got numbers by all your goals. You need to pick your number one goal. I mean that goal that when you get it, you're like, oh my God, this is amazing. That goal. Put that on another piece of paper. Then take your top 3 one-year goals, put those on another piece of paper. And so you've got 4 goals, leave room in between them. And if by the way, on January 1st on my Rod Khleif official page, I did this, and you can download a guide that I give you for free there if you want it, if you're not going to join me at my boot camp. But do that goal setting workshop. There's music, and it's a really awesome process. And so Now you've got the goals, but the goals are great, but they're not enough. What really is going to drive you is why they're an absolute must. So for each goal, you've got to write down why it's an absolute must, and use emotionally charged words like amazing and incredible and beautiful, because words are very, very powerful, and you want to use them. So you're going to say so we can have freedom. My family can have freedom to do whatever we want, whenever we want, wherever we want, bring whoever we want, so I can show my kids what success looks like. So I can show my wife or husband what success looks like. So that's the kind of stuff you want to put in there. And then once you've got a positive reason why those goals are an absolute must, you've got to put some pain in there if you don't achieve the goal. So you want to put things like, so I don't feel like a failure. So I don't live a life of regret. So I don't fail my kids, fail my children, make it painful. Because as human beings, we'll do more to avoid pain than gain pleasure. And you want to use this, okay? This is the fuel that will, hang on a second. Hey, please be as quiet as you can, bro. Okay. Sorry, guys.
I've got my fence people here too, so I know.
All right, yeah. So anyway, this is the fuel that gets you to take action, and so many people have fears or limiting beliefs, and they don't take action with towards their dreams, or maybe they're comfortable. And the comfort zone's a warm place, but nothing freaking grows there, okay? So this is the fuel. So use that pain. And guys, we don't want any regrets. There was a nurse in Australia. I love to cite her because her name was Bronnie Ware. And she was a hospice nurse. So she counseled people at the end of their lives. And she asked them a question. And the question was, do you have any regrets? And she wrote a book about it. It's called The 5 Regrets of Dying.
I read it.
Yeah, there you go. The number one regret was not living the life I could have lived, living someone else's life, not living up to my potential. Guys, don't fear failure. I know there's many people that are listening right now that fear failure, fear regret. It's much worse, okay? We fail our way to success. A lot of people don't know I've had 24 businesses that I've built, okay? 3 have been worth tens of millions of dollars. Most, I don't call them failures, I call them seminars. Most have been spectacular flaming seminars, okay? And so don't fear failure, fear regret. So anyway, you've got your reasons why. Then the last thing is you must get pictures of your goals so you manifest them. Get pictures around you, put them on the walls, put them on your screensaver. I'll give you a couple of public examples of this that are kind of cool. Jim Carrey, when he was flat broke, wrote himself a check for $10 million, put out of his own checking account, and he'd go up to the Hollywood sign, he'd visualize cashing it. And that's how much money he made for Dumb and Dumber. I'll give you a more recent example. Demi Lovato, when she was a nobody 10 years ago, had just been discovered or something on social, and she posted on social media that she was going to sing in the Super Bowl. She sang in this last Super Bowl, okay? This stuff works, guys. So get pictures of your goals. Back when I got into real estate, I thought I was going to get rich selling other people properties. So I was 18. I bought myself this Ford four-door Granada, 4-door car that I figured I had to have to show people houses. And piece of crap, okay, bench seat in the front, just ugly as can be. But I worked with a guy that had a Corvette, and he let me drive it. And I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. So I got a picture of a Corvette out of a magazine. This is 1978. And this is before the internet. Nobody even thought of internet yet. And I put a picture of that Corvette on the visor of this bone ugly Granada. And within a year or two, I had a Corvette. Now I want to give you a couple more quick examples and I'm done here. But this is, and please know that this is not me bragging. This stuff doesn't even interest me, the stuff I'm going to share with you now, but I'm hoping to inspire your listeners with what's possible, okay? So this is back when the TV show Magnum P.I. was on, and the actor's name was Tom Selleck, and he was a detective in Hawaii, and he drove this incredible red Ferrari 308. And I saw that, I'm like, oh my God, that's amazing. So I got a picture of that actual car, put it on the visor of my Corvette, I sit in the car, and it was right there in front of me. Within a year or two, I had a Maserati look just like it. Last example, I'm the guy that always wanted a Lamborghini. Growing up in high school, I had pictures of the Lamborghini. It was the Countach back then in my bedroom with the bikinis and the soap and all that nonsense. And what's interesting is my son collected models of exotic cars, and he had a model of the exact same color and style Lamborghini than I ended up getting, which I ultimately wrecked. But anyway, so they work. In fact, let me show you something real fast.
You ultimately wrecked it?
Yeah. In Florida here, some old lady pulled right in front of me. The cop said he was citing her for driving while old. Almost killed me. I mean, literally almost killed me.
Oh my God. Okay, that's
the whole
awful.
left side of the car off. But anyway, let me show. This is my planner. Okay, it's on today, and in the back of this thing, I've got pictures that have been in here for 20 years. Okay, first pictures of my gratitude pictures. The pictures of my kids when they were very young, and then I've got pictures of these are the houses that I wanted. I had that house on the beach. This before I built it, looks just like I had 10-foot high glass like this. I had travertine floors, looked just like that. Now you want to see something really interesting?
Yeah.
I live in a compound now. I mean, I've got 6 buildings. One of the AC's out, which is what they're doing here. But I lost that house on the beach in all the craziness in 2008 and my divorce and stuff. But I live in a compound now, 6 buildings, giant main house, beautiful guest house on the water. I've got a media building with a theater room and a video studio, exercise facility. I mean, it's incredible. And because God's got a sense of humor, I can see my old house across the bay because I live right across, literally, it's right out my back door. It's hilarious. You can't make this stuff up. But look at this picture on the bottom. If you're on iTunes, you can't see it, but can you see the white wall there, white wall in both those pictures?
Yeah.
Look behind me. My backyard. Is that insane? Okay. And this is 20 years ago. Okay. And then I've got, pictures of stupid shit like watches. I've got a few $100,000 worth of watches and here's a Lamborghini before I ever bought it. Okay. The Rolls Royce, the Bentley, all this stuff because I had pictures. So those of you that are analytical going, oh, good God, get on with the real estate stuff. Big mistake. Because this is more important. Okay. This is what gets it. So anyway, I'll get off my soapbox. I took.
No, I love it.
Okay,
I have a good friend of mine. Her name is Tracy Becker, and she does energy things and Reiki, and she has this incredible serenity resort there in Tennessee and called Peaceful Awakenings and all of that. And she had me do an exercise just like right before I started my own vision board, and I had my pictures up and everything like that. And she said, it's not enough to write it all down. It's not enough to quantify it. She said, what I want you to do is I want you to visualize that you have that life. And she goes, don't only take about 90 seconds. She goes, this is not something you're going to take forever, because I was always bitching about time. I have no time. I don't have time to meditate for 30 minutes a day. I'm busy. I'm a single mom. I'm a this, right? She goes, it's only just a matter of moments. She said, pretend you're there, because at the time I was meditating for the love of my life. So I had written down how my day would look like with the love of my life and blah, blah, blah. And she said, how does they make you feel? So visualize a time, like maybe you're out at dinner and how is that dinner going? But don't focus on the money or anything specific, your feelings. I feel appreciated. Wow. I feel like I'm happy. I feel like someone's looking at me as if I'm more special than anyone. Wow. And I feel the same thing about them. And within 90 seconds, after I started doing that, my mood was so elevated. And it made every day better. And every time I would get like bummed out, I would think that, and it would just make my mood. She goes, because you're calling with your soul to the universe, because the universe will feel that and they are going to find that. And it's taken me a long time, but guess what? I finally found somebody in my life. I had known them for over 10 years. In fact, their girlfriend and them had lived with me 10 years ago as roommates. And then, things happen, they break up, blah, 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 blah. And now the love of my life stays. And I was there, just a week ago, and I thought, oh my gosh, that moment is here. I am living that moment of feeling loved and that I am special and with someone that I think is the greatest thing that's since sliced bread.
That's so freaking beautiful. And this is resonating with me so much because I did the same thing. I wrote down exactly what I wanted in a woman. I mean, with exhaustive detail. And the minute I met her, I knew it was her instantly. And I was like an escaped convict after my divorce and, out there, but I mean, the minute I met her, it was like, boom, it's her. And she's the most beautiful soul on the planet. And I had a vision board. And at first I had a vision board of the hot women, just hot as shit, and giving you, but then I threw that one away, and I got a vision board of the feelings that I wanted to feel, people looking at each other. It's the exact same thing you're describing here. And I visualized, and I did the same thing. And you're right. It only takes a few minutes. I do a morning thing every morning where I do gratitude for my Tiffany, and I do gratitude for my kids and my students and my foundation and all this stuff. And literally for 2 minutes. And then I do gratitude for the things that I want. I use these vision boards I just showed you. And in fact, the first one here is a gratitude board. Okay. You see my kids. Okay. Gratitude board, my foundation, give my brother an expensive watch, and it's just things I'm grateful for. And then I do gratitude for the things that I want, which are the boards behind there, as if I already have them. And sometimes I get emotional being grateful for things I don't even have yet. And because it freaking works. And I know we're losing some of the analytical ones here, Jen, but I'm telling you guys, big mistake, because this stuff absolutely works. And because you've got to, especially in this time right now of COVID, and, if you're listening to Jennifer and Tammy here, you guys, you're a leader. Okay. And the people are watching you right now. If at the very least your family, but probably other people as well. And it's so easy to get sucked into the negative right now with the CBS, NBC, ABC, even Fox. I mean, it's just so much. They don't make money informing you. They make their money scaring the crap out of you. Okay. And so it's so easy to get sucked into that stuff. And you need to be bringing in the positive stuff, standing guard at the door to your mind and focusing on the good stuff. I do a clip every week, motivational clip called Own Your Power. In fact, I just did one on 100% ownership, and every week is a new one. So even if you don't like multifamily, come listen to my podcast called Lifetime Cash Flow. And I do that clip every week. We just broke 8 million downloads. And so, I'm doing something right. And I love it. I know,
just a bit.
I'm doing it because I love it. And that's why it's so popular, because they feel that, just like your energy is infectious, Jennifer. And so, but in this time, focus is so critical. And it's so easy to put your focus towards the negative, because as human beings, that's really how we roll. We kind of connect through negative. We connect through, if you came up to me and said, "Hey, how you doing?" I said, "Oh my God, I'm fantastic. Life is amazing. Oh, good God." You'd step back and say, "Who? Get back on the meds there, bro." But if you came and said, "How you doing?" I said, "Oh God, my back is killing me. The business is suffering right now." You'd be, "Oh, come here. Come here, let me hug you. Yeah. Let me love on you." Because we connect through that. Be careful of that, especially right now. Focus on what you want. And that's why the goals are so important, because you've got to have that desire to push through, especially right now. And maybe you need to reinvent yourself like I did, innovate, pivot, whatever it is, but you got to want it. And the only way to want it is to know exactly what it is, like you just described. I'm so happy for you that you found him. That's beautiful. Love that.
I'm happy.
Love that.
But for all of my analytical people, because here we're asset protection people. I mean, I talk about things that are quote unquote so boring: anonymity, entity formation, right? But I'm just going to tell you, the ROI will come. But if you don't have the passion behind it and it doesn't excite you, then it doesn't matter. I can sit here all day long. Rob could sit here all day long and tell you multifamily is the way to go. Real estate is the way to go. But if that is not your heart's desire, you're not going to make a penny, even if you check off every single box. You might be okay, but you won't be fulfilled. I think that we found in this time where we're all stuck, we're all going, man, this is not nurturing me. Social media is not nurturing me. The news is not nurturing me. The schools really aren't nurturing. We're all taking hard questions, and that's good. Let's take these hard looks at everything around us and decide what is actually going to nurture me and be okay. It is okay to feel good about yourself. It is okay to want abundance. It's fine. Don't feel guilty for wanting abundance. I'm going to tell you, because Rod doesn't probably even know this about me, but I was a homeless teen. And I managed to go through college being homeless, living in shelters or in dirt or in a tent. I mean, it was ridiculous, right? And I'm going to tell you, nothing motivated me more. It didn't motivate me to think one day I'm going to get out of this hell that I'm trying to crawl myself through by myself, to live some low life. You know, I didn't dream about living in a trailer park. My dreams were one day I'm going to have the love of my life. I'm going to have a clean home in a warm bed that is going to protect me during storms. Because when you're really homeless, you don't have that. And often you sleep in places that are wet and awful, where there's mosquitoes and all sorts of things. And I'm not going to wake up with bug bites. I'm going to be able to take a shower whenever I want. I'm going to have clean water and food whenever I want. And then you take it a step further. Then you get, you know, I was able to get a job. I was able to get little things, and I would dream more. It was those dreams of dreaming more that got me to a life that I'm so happy with. So allow yourself to dream. It's good. It's wonderful. It's what's going to stop all the other stuff, because it will push you through to a new comfort zone that will elevate you to where your new comfort is going to be leagues away from where it was before. And when you hit that, you have better problems. And those problems include, how am I going to help other people? And when you get to where you start thinking about other people, that is a wonderful place to be, not just for you, but for the entire world. So allow yourself to grow and get there.
Power moves to those that serve. And if I can tell in my students, when someone comes to me and says, you know, I need to make a lot of money so I can give back, I know they're going to be successful. And you know, in this world, whether you're religious or not, if you add value, the people that add the most value in any way, shape, or form are the ones that are most rewarded. And you know, and that value can be love and happiness. It can be a smile. It can be money. It can be your time. You know, we were given two hands, one to pull ourselves up and one to pull someone else up underneath us. And when you live to serve, success is inevitable. And so, which is why you're obviously successful, Jen. And I didn't know your story. That's very compelling. And it's, you know, it says a lot. And you know, I wasn't homeless, but we definitely struggled too. And I will tell you that it molds you and it shapes you and it makes you want more. And, you know, I like to tell this story about, you know, having limiting beliefs. So many people in life have limiting beliefs that hold them back. And mine started because my mom, when I immigrated, bless her heart, I didn't speak English, threw me into school, but then thought it'd be a good idea to send me to, and I found out what bullies were. And thought it'd be a good idea to send me to school in wooden shoes and the leather shorts that they wear for Oktoberfest. And so I got my butt kicked again. And then the bullies had chased me home, and she chased them off with a fly swatter, and I got my butt kicked again. And I came up with this limiting belief that I wasn't good enough. And, you know, and I used to ask myself the question, how can I show them I'm good enough? Which, you know, presupposed that I wasn't. And so many of us, you know, maybe you're listening and you can identify with a limiting belief, like I'm too young, I'm too old, I'm not smart enough, I'm not analytical enough, I'm not outgoing enough, I'm too introverted. Whatever it is, their stories, their belief systems. And there's a reason the acronym for belief systems is BS, because 99.9% of them are. We have this emotional childhood experience that prevents us from taking action. So if you have that, here's what I'm going to encourage you to do, because I'm the guy that wouldn't raise his hand in class. I would be terrified of being humiliated or embarrassed. And it took some work, but I'm going to tell you the work. It's very, very simple. You know, I mean, now I speak in front of thousands of people. And so it's very, very simple. What you do is when it happens and it pops up, you pull it out in the daylight and you look at it with your adult rational mind and you recognize that it's BS. And then it'll start to diminish. And it won't happen the first time, but if you do it consciously, whenever it pops up, it's going to go away. And so if you're one of these people that is letting that stuff hold you back, it's time to make a decision. It's time to make a decision. And with that decision, the Latin root for the word decision means to cut off. It means if you're attacking the island, you're going to burn your ships because you're taking their damn ships home. Okay. And that's a decision. And then you're committed. And there's a huge difference between interested and committed. If you're interested, if you have something happen, you're going to get derailed and knocked off track. If you're committed, you're like a train on a track. Motivation will get you started. Commitment will bring you home. So commitment means it's not a 1 foot in, 1 foot out kind of a thing. It is done. And with that comes incredible, success, and success is inevitable when you fully commit. And then you've got to take the first step. And, you know, like Dr. Martin Luther King said, take that first step in faith and the staircase will be revealed. And Lao Tzu said, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, you know, and so And then once, you know, it's in real estate, it's the law of the first deal. It's the scariest, it's the hardest, it takes the longest. And then you get it and you're like, my God, is that all there was? And I see it with my students all the time. It takes them 8 months to get that first one. After that, the next 8 months, they've got 6 more. And I'm like, what the hell happened here? and so, but listen, you know, there are a couple other things I'd love to chat about. I know we're bumping up against your time horizon here, but you know, one of the things is we talked about focus, and I want to just bring that home real quick, especially right now with COVID. And that is, you know, where focus goes, energy flows. Whatever you focus on gets bigger, and positive or negative. And I love to give this example. They asked Mother Teresa if she was anti-war, and she said, no, I'm pro-peace. So remember that as things are coming up in your life, and remember to focus on what you want and the direction you want to go. Very, very important. And focus is power. And I listen to one podcast, the only one I have time for. It's Tim Ferriss's. And Tim Ferriss takes the best in the world at what they do and dissects them and kind of deconstructs them. Best athletes, best, you know, the business people, has Ray Dalio on, actors, Arnold and Jamie Foxx and Ed Norton. I mean, the best of the best. And he deconstructs them, and I started to see a pattern. Excuse me. I started to see a pattern. They all meditate. What does meditation do? It enhances your focus. And I remember, you know, I had multiple businesses at the same time. I had a carpet cleaning business. I had frozen yogurt shops, vending carts, and everything suffered. But when I honed in on one thing, and because my focus was diluted, but when I honed in on one thing, boom, it exploded. You'll almost always see me in these black V-necks. I also avoid decision fatigue because, you know, because it dilutes focus and it makes you tired. And so I've got 50 of these black V-necks, and that's typically what I wear, unless my wife makes me wear something else as well. But anyway, so.
Well, gosh, I just feel like we've learned so much today, or soaked up so much, at least I have. But we are getting at the end, and I absolutely hate that, because I didn't even get to ask you anything. Well, I'm going to ask you anyway. I don't care. This will just be a long episode, guys. So tell us a little bit about the Tiny Hands Foundation. And
well, let me tell you how that happened.
Yeah,
let me tell you how that happened, actually, because it's important, because we talked about goals. So remember I told you about that house on the beach that I built. It took me 20 years to build it. Okay. And this house was unbelievable. I mean, to give you an idea, there was a waterfall from the second floor balcony into the pool. You had to walk through the waterfall to get to the pool. It had probably, I don't know, $30,000 worth of trees that bent out over the pool. I mean, the pool was in magazines. I'll land the plane with this. There was a spiral staircase up through the middle of the house. On the second floor, there were 20-foot curved aquariums that were custom built. The aquariums cost me almost $200,000. So that gives you an idea of the house. So anyway, I mean,
wow.
it was a Gulf to bay. I laid in my master bedroom bed. I'd look left, I'd see the beach. I looked right, and I'd see the bay. It was on an island, and a narrow island. Anyway, wow. So 20 years I worked for this. 2 months after I moved in, I'm floating in the pool at night. It's changing colors and waterfall from there, and from the balcony, and from the spa, and just incredible. And I got depressed. My family's inside sleeping, and I got depressed. I'm like, what the hell? I mean, I was really bummed. And I'm like, this is not me. And you know, I'm a very positive guy. And what I discovered was there were several things going on that when I look back on, I realized. The first one is you should never achieve a big goal without having other goals lined up behind it, because you need a vision. You need a vision for your future. Like the good book says, without a vision, the people perish. You got to know what it is you're going to do. The other thing is it's never about the goals. You need the goals to motivate you and excite you and propel you, but the goals, the happiness is short-lived. It's about continual progress and growth. And I didn't know how I was going to grow beyond that, okay? But the biggest thing was I had been totally focused on Rod, okay? I built this testament to my ego to prove to the world I was good enough. That's the truth of it. And I had been totally focused on Rod. Show them I matter. Show them I'm good enough. And so I bought some books to get myself back. I got, you know, Dale Carnegie, of course, and Zig Ziglar at the time, and Tony Robbins was a book. This is 20 years ago. Mm-hmm. And I really liked Tony's book. And so I went to one of his events. And I spent the last 20 years following him around the planet. And then let me give him a shout out. If you have an opportunity to see him, just do it. Trust me, you'll be glad you did. But I found out that he fed families for the holidays. And I'm like, what a concept. Do something for someone else. I was 40 before I got that memo. And so I went back and I decided to feed 5 families. And we called a church and we said, who really needs help? And this was for Thanksgiving. We do it more for Christmas now, but I said, who really needs help? And they gave us 5 families. Third family changed my life. We go up to this house, and this was in Denver at the time, actually. I had gone back and I did it with my brother. And this lady lived in this, it wasn't even a 1-bedroom. It was this crappy, you walk through you go into the living room. It's like a row house. You go into the living room, you walk through the bedroom to get to the kitchen, which has the bathroom off of it. So it's not even a 1-bedroom. Okay.
It's called shotgun. Yeah,
shotgun. That's exactly right. It's a shotgun. Yeah. And the lady was there with her 5 kids. And she comes out, and we had toys for the kids, and we had the frozen turkey and the roasting pan and the food, boxes of food. She comes out, she sees it, she starts crying. Her kids come out, the older ones start crying. I start crying. And as I had to brag when you said 65,000, we have now fed 80,000 children for the holidays. And we've done tens of thousands of backpacks filled with school supplies. It's just astounding to me that we live in the greatest country on earth, and there are kids that don't have the basic supplies for school. Yeah. Literally tens of thousands of backpacks. I've done tens of thousands of teddy bears filled, for officers to put in their vehicles when they encounter a child that's been traumatized. And you talked about this. There's a big difference between success and fulfillment. I was successful, but I was unfulfilled because I'd been totally focused on me. And I will tell you, I've interviewed gazillionaires on my show, mega millionaires, and I can tell if they're like I was back then, totally focused on themselves. And I feel sorry for them because that's not success. And so if you're listening to this show and you want success, whatever your definition of that is, and I'm sure that you do, if you're not giving back already, do it now. Don't wait, don't say I'll give back when I have it. Find a way to give back now, because honestly, your success will come faster and you'll be happier. Don't achieve to be happy. Happily achieve. Very important distinction. So thank you for my foundation's called the Tiny Hands Foundation. I paid for it until 2008 when my world crumbled. That year I paid $50,000 to feed 1,500 families and about 5,000 kids. But I do take donations now, and it's the Tiny Hands Foundation, tinyhandsfoundation.org. Every dime goes to these things. I pay the operational costs. I always have. But thank you for letting me put a little plug in on that. No, that's so it's so important, because it is so fulfilling. And if you're sitting there going, hey, the only reason I'm listening to your show, Jen, is because I have nothing and I think I can get something. Well, you can still give back. Maybe it's just listening to that friend who is having the very hard time with COVID. There are a lot of people, like I have one of my best friends. They are a social butterfly. Their entire job is meeting with people. Their entire job is networking. And I'm constantly now going, okay, I need a call, because this is hell on earth for them. Then there's a lot of people for that. So even if your giving back is just, I'm going to be a better friend, or I'm going to spend 10 more minutes with the kids. Well, that's giving back right then. That's some of the biggest things you can do. So many ways to do it. And, learn this business. If you're into real estate, learn real estate with the idea to help someone else. That's when I tell people to come to my boot camp. One of the first things I say is take notes like you're going to teach this, because you are, and you'll retain so much more when you do. So very, very important. Yeah. Well, I want to thank you, Rod. I could talk to you for like the rest of the day. Oh, and take all you. You are such a delight. You are such a delight. I've really enjoyed, I can see why your show's a success. And again, if let me just mention, if this is going to go out before July 25th, please come join me for 2 days. It's $97 freaking dollars for 2 full days of training. I'm not selling anything, and it's multifamilyvirtualbootcamp.com, or text RODLIVE as one word, RODLIVE, one word, to 41411, and we'll get you there. And I promise you'll be glad you did. Promise you. We have a lot of fun. It's drinking through a fire hose for 2 full days on multifamily, but I also do mindset. We do goals. We do your identity statement. We do things that are more important than the real estate, but you're going to get all the real estate you can take. So. Well, that is really good. Okay. So Tammy's going to take us away, and she's going to tell you again how you can get all this information. You can hook up for this live event. You can help Rod with the Tiny Hands Foundation, or you can just find out more. So Tammy, take us away. Absolutely. And thank you, Rod. Yes. Thank you so much, Rod, for being here with us today and filling our audience with so much knowledge. And thank you, Jen, again for hosting
for us today. And I will have all of Rod's information and links in our show notes. So we'll have the multifamilyvirtualbootcamp.com links and his also.
Use the code RODFRIEND. Use the code RODFRIEND to get $50 off. Yeah. I forgot to mention that again.
Yes, I have that written down. We'll have his downloadable guide, and we will also have the links to the tinyhandsfoundation.org. So please visit our site. We will have all of that information there. And you can find us on all social media and all podcasting platforms. We are at Leafy Legal. Thank you so much again, everyone, for joining us today. We've had a wonderful time, and I hope you have too. And we will see you next time. So thanks again. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Attention real estate investors and entrepreneurs. Did you know that real estate investors are a primary target for lawsuits? According to the National Survey of the Court data, 25% of Americans risk being sued in their lifetime. However, if you are a real estate investor, you have a 95% chance of being sued in the next 20 years. Leafy Legal Services helps you protect your assets and strategically grow your business and wealth. Leafy Legal Services are experts at the Series LLC and Delaware Statutory Trust, two of the newest and most ideal legal structures for real estate investors. Leafy Legal Services have the most personalized and affordable solutions for setting up LLCs. Property owners are always at risk when it comes to their assets. Anonymity is so important. If you own just a rental house and you own your home, you have to protect yourself and your properties from any potential legal issues. Leafy Legal Services have the right solutions to make sure you are happy and feel secure. They offer cost-effective documentation that suits their clients' needs. For a free consultation and ebook, visit LeafyLegalServices.com. They are waiting to hear from you. LeafyLegalServices.com.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Don't wait. Take action now. LeafyLegalServices.com. Protect your assets, grow your business, and manage your wealth.